That was Orange County SC celebrating the winning goal this past weekend in Memphis as Orange County defeated Memphis 9-0 win with a Dillon Powers powered header into the back of the net in extra time for a 1-0 victory. Now the boys in orange and black turn their sights to the next challenge, a tough Colorado Springs Switchback FC on the road. Join us right here as we break down the playoff win, preview the upcoming match, and dive into all the latest on OCSC. Let's get this thing started. Welcome to the Show of Champions. This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast. How's it going, Orange County? Welcome to another episode of the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, the first and only show dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans, and supporters. I'm your host, Ray Samora. I'm here to take you through this journey as we discuss all things Orange County Soccer Club playoffs. And helping me out in this episode, first, we've got Dillon. Dillon, how are you feeling after this? The results this weekend?
For our audio listeners, I would like to point out, not the Dillon you probably wanted to be hearing from right now, but maybe more on that later. I'm over the moon with this result. It's playoff footy, so you just have to advance. That's all that matters. And we got it done.
That is all that matters. And we did get it done. And we've been getting it done the last 2.5, 3 months now of playoff footy. But we also got some additional help on this episode. It's not just Dillon and Ray. We've also got the bearded one himself. We've got Larry. Larry, how enjoyable was that match this weekend? And were you at all stressed at any point in that match?
Did you see any videos I posted on Instagram of me actually not being able to breathe? I was so excited. My blood pressure was sky high, but I felt so good that entire game. I liked the way the team played from the first whistle right up until the last whistle. What a high the Saturday was. Did we lose?
Right? Did you?
Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what's going on my end. I'm having some technical issues, so I apologize. We got one additional person helping out on this show. One of the smarter ones that we have on this show from time to time for part of the writing team. That's DK Jenks. DK, welcome back. How are you feeling?
Thank you. I don't know necessarily about smarter, but I write from time to time, so that's nice. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling wonderful. As Dillon said, as Larry said, like, this is playoff soccer, so it's always exciting to get that win. And from where we were, at a few months ago, just most of this season, to say that we are now in the conference semifinals, like, I can't be happier.
I'm super stoked about this. It's playoff soccer. I think all of us Orange County Soccer Club fans enjoy when it gets down to playoffs. It's fun. It's stressful. It's nerve-wracking. Check out my fingers. They're getting all chopped down from watching the games. And yeah, we'll see how things go with all this. The amazing thing, Orange County goes on the road to Memphis, a place where they had won earlier in the season, were victorious. They also beat Memphis at home. I know a lot of people, especially when you get into statistics and stuff, it's very much a statistical, not a norm to win 3 times in a row in a season. Orange County was able to do that all the way. And I like the highlights there from producer Andy there. It was a great performance by NA number 16. Dillon, what'd you think of NA's performance in this match?
Hey, NA is right up there with first last name for one of my all-time favorite Orange County players, dare I say legend, here in Irvine.
Yeah, it's interesting. And here's the thing that's interesting. We'll get into the match analysis, but it's playoff soccer for the USL Championship. It should be the one time of the season where they're on point and making sure you have none of these issues, none of these errors. And right off the bat in the match for Orange County, before the match even starts, we have an issue there. Larry was like sort of shaking his head. You don't trust that USL will get it right at any point, correct? Is that what you're shaking your head at?
Not a chance in hell. And producer Andy just put it up there. Orange City, you are my team until the day I die.
And I'm gonna cut in there, Larry. I'm gonna cut in there really quick because I think we're still having some audio issues with you, and Dillon and everyone else can correct me if I'm hearing it only myself or if everyone else is hearing it. So Larry's gonna work and see if he can fix those audio issues. I apologize for cutting you off on that. DK, your thoughts on the match? Now we've sort of gone over some of the fun stuff. Now let's talk about this match. What did you see in this match this weekend from Orange County that gives you confidence that they can make a deep playoff run? And maybe is there anything that you're still worried about when you watch them play?
Yeah, I think we've been talking about it for the past couple months, but the chemistry between the squad is fantastic, especially in that midfield, and especially in the sense of missing both Kyle Scott and Kevin Partita right now. Both Ashish Chadha and Seth Kasipli have really stepped up and have become those funnels. What was fantastic to see is that the team trusted them in the middle to then force Memphis to go narrow. And then it opened up our strongest point, which is the wings for Dunbar and Jameson. And speaking of Jameson, he looked hungry from the get-go. So all three of those players that I mentioned, I think were absolutely crucial in allowing us to have the dominance that we did. Of course, I would have loved to see us, clinch that victory before the 116th minute, but it's still great that we were able to get there. And, I think we looked the stronger team. I think there was only one moment that Memphis, really even challenged us too greatly. And that was in the first 2 minutes when they ended up just shooting it super wide. But other than that, I think that we looked really, really strong. The only thing that I really have to worry about, and I don't know if we'll talk about it more once we get to talking about Colorado Springs, but is those long balls over the top. I've seen it in the past few weeks of us. We get beat on those, and luckily they haven't been converting into goals for the opposition, but I'm worried about that against Colorado on Saturday. So.
Yeah, no, I get that. And we will get into the Colorado discussion. I want to just check in on you, Larry, see if we have the audio issue fixed, because I want to give you a chance to speak. You like to speak. Let's check on this.
I do like to speak. Can you all hear me now? Am I clear, or am I still
That is a
breaking up?
lot better. That is 100% better.
All right. Well, I tried an experiment with my AirPods, and obviously that AirPods experiment failed miserably. So we won't be doing that again. What are we talking about tonight, by the way?
Orange County?
I'm sorry. I thought this was the Orange City podcast. So I am obviously in the wrong place tonight, which is probably why my audio was screwed up. Let me just cover what I was going to say about this game. I like the way the team played. I like the way the team played from the first whistle right until the end. And I was saying it on the Instagram feed as I was posting stuff here and there throughout the game. Patience, patience, patience. We don't need to take 47 shots on goal. We only seem to need to take 1 or 2 or 3, and we're going to put one in the back of the net, and our defense is going to take care of the rest, as we have proven by, what is that now, 7 clean sheets in the last 9 games? Unheard of. Is anybody else getting flashbacks? Anybody else getting flashbacks to 2021? Just shut down defense. Nobody scoring goals against us. Us only scoring a goal here, a goal there, and just keep winning and winning and winning.
Goal instead of a goal. Dillon, your thoughts on this? Let me ask you this, Dillon. Early in the first half, I believe there was a good chance, a good shot from Bryce Jameson that hits the post. If that is just a couple inches to the left, are we talking about this being a struggle for Orange County, or do you see maybe the game playing out a different way than it actually did and going to extra time and having to battle and fight and work hard to get that winning goal? What are your thoughts if Jameson does get that goal into the back of the net?
Yeah, I think we end up still going to added time. I think Memphis pegs one back. I think it's just at this level, and I think in general, it's too difficult to score 3 or 4 minutes into a match and hold on for the next 90 minutes to get, through added time. That being said, would it have taken some pressure off of us? Yeah, probably. At the same time, I think I would just prefer teams be cagey and risk not wanting to concede against us. I think, hey, if you're not really going to test our defense, then great. If you want to take pot shots from 25, 30 yards out all day because, you're staring down Dillon Powers and Marcus Nakeem, great. Go for it. Colin Shuttler's probably got you beat unless you hit a world beater. If you try and play over the top, that works well in situations, but that also relies a lot upon whoever is running onto that ball is going to actually have the composure to finish those chances. And that's not always a guarantee at this level. So I don't think it's all doom and gloom. I do want to reiterate, we did win. We didn't even just advance on penalties. We won. So things are good. And also we
I
match. Like if we look at the handy chalkboard that the USL offers us, occasionally do things correctly. 2021, they certainly thought that San Antonio was going to be in the final. Probably broke their hearts that we were there and won instead. So sorry, guys. Maybe that's why we're Orange City now. But if you look at the chalkboard, you watch Orange County just dominate this game, and you watch them dominate pretty much everything outside of the first 5 minutes in terms of passing. And when you look at it, a lot of those passes are, it's not like a 2-yard pass back and forth and you're just kind of waiting. This was a progressive idea. This wasn't Orange County just trying to survive on the road and hopefully squeak through in PKs. We took it to them, and I was kind of surprised it was 1-0, but hey, we won.
Now, I'm going to jump on this really quick, Dillon, because I believe early on in the match, possession was really favorable to Memphis. And it really probably didn't change much until the red card for Memphis in that second half, when Orange County then just really started dominating the match, taking control of the ball, possession. Yes, there weren't many opportunities, I think, that Memphis took and that scared me as a Orange County fan watching the match. But I wouldn't say Orange County was dominating for most of the match. I don't think it was until the red card where they really sort of just now put the foot to the gas and figured things out, and didn't have that, I guess, mentality of let's at least not concede a goal. Let's try and score a goal. Let's be attack minded, but let's also be very cautious. Once Memphis got the red card, I think Orange County sprung the attack. DK, what are your thoughts? Do you agree with something Dillon or I said? Do you have different thoughts on how that all played out?
No, definitely. I mean, I agree a lot with what Dillon said. I think, like I pointed out earlier, I think we looked really strong. One thing I do want to point out as well is I liked the performance of Danny Stone from this match, especially in comparison to our playoff run last season when you're looking at the managerial decisions, because he waited. And a lot of people, at least in the watch party that I was, at, were wondering, like, why hasn't he made subs yet? Why hasn't he made subs yet? And I actually really, really liked the fact that he waited until basically the last minute to make subs. He trusted the team on the pitch to control the flow of the game. And then he was going for a playoff strategy of, if we get to extra time, that's when we want fresh legs on there. And I think that's something that killed us last season in the playoffs. And I think that was something that was really great today, or this last weekend. And, I hope that he can trust the players on the pitch next game as well, and that they're able to give a similar performance.
And Ray, let me step in here real quick. In regards to the substitutions, Keith and I were together at the Harp watching this game, and I made mention of bringing on Christian Sordo, who hasn't had tons of minutes. And Keith, I don't remember exactly what your comment was, Keith, but you talked me down off a ledge because I didn't like this substitution. I can't even remember who he came in for. Come in for Bryce, I think. Is that right? Does that sound right?
I don't remember who he came in for, but I feel like I remember at least my basic idea
Chris?
of what I was saying is just that Sordo at this point in his season has got to be hungry, and he looked hungry when he came on.
And
He was playing with a
absolutely.
lot of energy, and in reality, I think in these playoffs, the subs are going to make the difference. And if we can have somebody like Sordo, especially, one of my concerns is our depth currently. So if we can have Sordo to lean on, and potentially maybe Flood coming back, and Ben Norris giving a performance of his lifetime, those are the people that are going to, and Among, of course, they're going to really propel us forward. So
Let me I'll jump in there just to clarify. It was for Chris Hagart, aka NA number 16. Dillon.
Okay, that was it.
You got to. I just wanted to clarify that he's actually just number 16, not applicable. Or maybe
Yeah.
first last name. Who knows?
The substitution for Bryce was actually youngster Ben Barjolo that came in for Bryce in
That's
extra
right, yeah.
time. Yes, which was nice to see some of the youngsters getting a little run here in the playoffs.
And what a time to get it. I mean, they came in nervous time, and every one of them were out there. They were playing like old pros. This didn't look like 17, 18-year-old soccer players out there. These guys looked seasoned, and they came in and they stepped into some gigantic shoes out there. Stepping into Bryce's shoes, stepping into Seth Kasipli's shoes. Those are big damn shoes to fill out there on the pitch. And these kids did fantastic doing it.
Apparently, Larry knows the shoe size of many of the players on OC because they're very large. Dillon, you had a comment.
Yeah, I actually
Figurative.
now want to ask if anybody knows what Seth Kasipli's shoe size is. But did anybody
Probably about
Dillon will know.
feel positively about Orange County going a man up in this match? Because I think my gut said, yes, we're up a man. And 2 seconds later, I immediately started to panic. Larry, you were shaking your head.
No, we have a history, and Andy is one of the people who talks about it more than anybody, that when we go up a man, that team that's down a man has us right where they want us, because we have historically not done well when we have been up a man. And so, yeah, I was right there with you. I thought about that too.
I think this is not the first time that I was actually. Oh, sorry, Ray.
No, go for it, TK.
I think this is the first time in a while that I actually wasn't too concerned about us being up a man with our kind of curse play style that we've had in the past few years. I don't know. Like, as much as anybody can say, like, yeah, we should have gotten that win because we were up a man, like, we looked dominant throughout the match. Memphis did not have many opportunities, and we had a few that were just inches away from going in the net. And our passing looked better. Our, forward push looked better. Our, moments in the final third looked better. So, like, this is the first time that I wasn't really worried. And maybe that's trust in Danny Stone, or maybe I was just focused on the game. I don't know. But
so my comment was
that's the size 8. I said size 8. I know tactics. All right, I know shoe sizes.
And those are apparently big shoes for Mr. Larry in his mind. What I was going to say, this is the Danny Stone Orange County Soccer Club. This is not your grandpa's OCSC where you have to worry about when we go a man up. This team seems to have a lot more confidence with it. Dillon does not like me saying what I just said. Hey, here's what we got to talk about. We've gone almost 20 minutes of this show. We have not even really started discussing the actual goal that gave Orange County the win. But before we get to the goal and the amazing header from Dillon Powers, what about that cross from Cameron Dunbar on a short corner kick? He sort of faked the defender one way, turns over his shoulder, uses his left foot, which I'm not sure, I don't know for sure, but I believe is his weaker foot, to get a nice lifted cross right in front of goal where no one could get to it except for one Dillon Powers. I want to go, and I'm going to let someone jump on this. Like, what are your thoughts on the pass? Let's go to the pass first. What are your thoughts on the pass from Cameron Dunbar on that? Whoever wants to take it.
One word. Wow.
I will expand a little bit more on this idea, and this is why it's really helpful to have players that can actually pass with both feet and use both feet. Obviously, his defender knows he's right-footed and thinks that he's going to feign, and ends up giving Cameron Dunbar almost 2 meters of space to just float this one to the back post. So it couldn't be any easier. pass wise. And then, hey, shout out to Dillon Powers for beating his man there and heading home.
DK, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, I wanted to talk kind of about Dunbar for this whole match since he hasn't been mentioned yet. I think he did a lot really great for the entire match. I mean, there was some, he nearly had a goal if it wasn't deflected. He had a fantastic pass to Dogman, who had a shot, almost identical to his goal from the following week. And then, of course, he had this assist. That one, great that Powers jumped up and met it, but also looked like it could have gotten to Among, who was sitting at the far post as well. And that might have been his target. I don't know. But either way, it was a beautiful, perfect pass. And I think Dunbar is somebody who's underrated on this team because maybe he hasn't had a ton of goals, but he's technically our leading assist player right now. And I think he adds a lot to this squad that really, really helps. And just like how I was early in the season for Zubac and being a big proponent for him, I will be for Dunbar now. And I think he's going to make a difference in this postseason. So,
well, this is where postseason USL Championship Soccer is where you look for players with some sort of experience at high level competitions or, high pressure situations. And yes, I agree. There's probably been a lot of flack given to Dunbar for his lack of goals and or, flair that you would want to see, mainly because he comes in as a former MLS player now playing at this level, although he didn't really get a lot of run at MLS, right? To be all honest, nothing against Cameron Dunbar, but he didn't get a lot of opportunity at the MLS level. But I think sometimes when you have those types of players coming in that have played at that level, you expect more out of them. Same thing for Ethan Zubac. I think there was a lot of high expectations for him. Oh, we have an MLS level striker now playing for Orange County. He's going to be able to score 30 goals in a season. Well, it shows you that the talent level between maybe fringe or lower level MLS star and a leading USL championship player, it's probably not that big of a gap there. But I think that's where a lot of the flack came from players like Cameron Dunbar and Ethan Zubac this season is just, I think there was higher expectations because they have the pedigree of having played or been on an MLS roster in the past. Same that has happened in the past when we had like someone like a Harry Forrester on the team where you expected more for someone like that because they had played at higher level English soccer. And unfortunately it just didn't pan out there. Maybe didn't pan out so great with Orange County. That's debatable. I'll let Dillon talk more on that if he wants to. But now it's okay. We've talked about that pass, the header. Dillon Powers, the dude rose above everyone else on that. I mean, he was the lone person getting his head to the ball, which just dumbfounds me when a defender is letting that happen. You got to get in front of the player in that type of situation. Dillon, your thoughts on Dillon's powerful header into the back of the net?
Yeah. Again, he beats his man to do that, which awesome. Mind you, Dillon Powers has almost been playing for 2 hours at this point. Massive shout out to Southern California native Carson Vom Stieg. Really cool of him to hook Orange County up there by not defending and somehow letting Dillon Powers in, and then just staring at the ground like, how did this happen? Look, he is time and again kind of shown why he is so important for Orange County. And it was, hey, learned how to play in a position. And he used to be able to, contribute with an actually dangerous shot or a really key pass from 30 or 40 yards. And now we can see that, hey, if you get him in the right positions in the box, he's a threat. And if it comes down to, early season Orange County form again, and we're only scoring from set pieces, great. The more the merrier. He looked good.
Hey, it's playoff soccer, right? You get one goal and you don't concede a goal, that gets you into the next round, right? And that's sort of what I think we can really look at this Orange County team. That's their key to success here is concede as few goals as possible and just get those one or two lucky attempts on or quality attempts on target. And we saw this. Yes, it took 100 and 117 minutes for Orange County to get a goal, but they got it. And obviously you want that instead of going to PKs, but that's what you're going to see from this Orange County team. And I'm all for it. Larry, you have a comment on this?
Yeah, something that I've noticed, and I've noticed it this entire season, that a lot of times with when Dillon and Marcus are coming up from the back on those corners, I've noticed that Dillon jumps and God, if you're in the green room right now, Dillon, I love you, buddy, but I've noticed that he jumps and he does not get his head on a lot of balls. And there was one earlier in this game where he went up and he wasn't close. I don't know if it was too high, if he didn't jump high enough. And I was just thinking to myself, like, I don't know if it's the best idea having him come up for these headers. He doesn't get a lot of heights. He does not hop like Ethan Zubak, who, boy, I'd love to put a basketball in his hands and get in a gym and watch him dunk a few times. And then what happens in the 118th minute? Dillon Powers scores a header to once again prove exactly how little I know about the game of soccer other than just loving watching it. So that was kind of funny to me, because I was thinking to myself, man, this guy doesn't get his head on the ball. And then he gets the game winner with his head on the ball. So thank you for that, Mr. Powers.
Yeah, here's the beauty of Dillon Powers as one of your starting center backs. He's been more of a midfielder his whole career in soccer. He's just easily and very smartly transitioned to a center back role. And he plays that very well, but he's always going to have a little bit of that midfielder in him, which obviously that's not a striker, but a midfielder typically will have a little bit more ability on the ball and a little bit more ability to try and get shots on target than your typical center back will have. That's what you get out of Dillon Powers playing center back, is you're getting the experience and the quality center back with the mentality and the mind state of a midfielder, which is really awesome to have. DK, I want to know, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I love center backs in the box for corner kicks. Sorry, little fumble there. I love center backs in the box for corner kicks, because I think in just the game of soccer that a lot of times that they produce headers like that. And I think it's fantastic. They're aggressive. They know what it's like to be in the box in those moments defending. So I think it's really great to have them there on the offense too. So, I think his experience as a center back probably has helped him a little bit more in getting a perfect finish like that. And there's not a lot to add about it. It was a perfect header. It was a perfect pass, and it got us to the semifinals. So we love to see it.
And speaking of a perfect header and a perfect pass, we can also include perfect timing, because just as we're wrapping up talking about Dillon Powers, he joins the green room and he's ready to jump on the show. We've got Dillon Powers, game-winning goal scorer for your Orange County Soccer Club this past weekend. Dillon, you always hear the moments. You always hear the talk about when there's those moments, it just is playing in slow motion as it's coming. How slow was that ball coming from Cameron Dunbar's foot to your head? How long did it feel like it was taking for that to get to your head and into the back of the net?
It is a pretty strange phenomenon. It definitely felt like time stood still. And I was actually telling Andrew Fox this morning how many, just amazing how many things can go through your head while something like that's happening. I'm sure from the time the ball left his foot to the time it hit my head was probably like, I don't know, a second and a half, but just, I don't know, there's just so much that kind of goes through your head, and it all slows down. But then I think what just went through my head at the time was, at the end, was just get it on target. And I think that's when I just kind of made an adjustment with my body position to just make sure I hit the target. Because I think my first thought was like, let me just try to get some power on it to beat the keeper. But I think when you do that, you can kind of sometimes you can kind of go too much and maybe hit the ball over. So I just kind of let the power from the cross just kind of do its thing and just redirect it to where it needed to go.
And then at what point after that ball hit your head did you realize that is going to the back of the net? Like,
it was pretty quick. Yeah, it was pretty quick. Once it hit my head, it was pretty much bang bang, and I had the realization that it went in once it kind of went through Derek's hands and in the back of the net. And that's when it kind of feels surreal, and you just kind of lose control of your reaction, and just go into kind of that elation celebratory mode. So yeah, here it is right here, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a beautiful part.
Yeah, we had talked about trying to work quite a few more short corners, especially with the man up, and Cam just delivered like a perfect ball, and it just it was literally on a platter. All I had to do was kind of redirect it, like I said, and then this moment here was just so fun. So I actually was jogging over the corner. I started cramping, so that's why I just threw myself on the floor. And I think if any more bodies would have been on top of me, I would have really been struggling to breathe. So I'm glad not too many more jumped on. But.
So then you were sort of glad that Cameron and a couple other teammates ran the opposite direction towards the bench. Did you all give those players a little bit of a hard time once you saw who was missing out on the big celebration on the corner there?
Well, I always prefer to just, go where the group's going, but I think sometimes you just can't really – sometimes you just, like, turn and run towards the first person you see. And, like, if you look, Sorto actually runs right towards Ryan. They start hugging each other. And sometimes people just run towards the bench, so I'm not blaming anyone for where they run. It's just sometimes you just lose control of what happens in those moments.
One last question I have about your header.
Sorry, go ahead, Ray.
One last question I have about your header, Dillon. Where did you get the hops at that moment? It looked like you almost had that little extra bit behind your legs. Maybe that's why you cramped up on the celebration, but how did you push that little extra to get above everyone else and get your head to that ball before anyone else could?
I think I just, there's always something if you just tap into it, you can always find a little bit more. And I felt like, and this is not something I was really consciously processing, but I thought we were the better team in the game. I thought it would have been a shame to go to penalties and lose that game. Not that like we necessarily would have went to penalties, but I think it's just, it's a crapshoot. So I think maybe that there was some subconscious motivation to get it across the line before that happened.
It's funny that you talk about just going over there to the corner and kind of lying down, because as soon as the celebration stopped, first thing my wife said was, "Is he okay? He just like fell on the ground. Was that celebration or is he hurt?" I'm like, I don't know. I don't care. But that was absolutely beautiful. One of the best celebrations we've seen from the team this year. One of the most exciting moments. And for those of you listening, I just want to give you, for those of you not aware, I want to give you Dillon's just real quick resume. Number 1, Gatorade High School Player of the Year. Number 2, 4 years at Notre Dame, which Fighting Irish, play like a champion, baby. MLS Rookie of the Year, 2021 USL champion. Of all of these moments you've had, where does this one rank for you, Dillon?
It was, in terms of like on-field, singular moments, it was right up there. It's such a high, just celebrating with my teammates like that. And there's so much good energy and love in the group that, I'm so pleased to share that moment with all those guys. So I would say it's right up there with some of my top moments for sure.
Nice. I want to talk about the locker room for just a second. So you guys all just heard me give Dillon's resume of some of his highlights of his career. What you also might not know is, Dillon Powers, dancing machine. So I'm curious, did you ever use any of those dance moves before you met your wife to maybe meet some girls at the club?
Why did I have a feeling you're going to ask me about that today? I think people actually are often surprised by my dance moves. I think I'm generally like a pretty reserved person, but then when it comes time to dance, I think it really just takes over me. And I definitely have wooed a few people in my day with my dance moves.
Attaboy. Gotta love that. But can he floss? No, nobody flosses anymore, Ray. That was very 2010, I think. One last one. How has the mentality of this team changed over the last 9 weeks? We're talking about 9 weeks without a loss, 7 clean sheets. Obviously, we got Danny Stone coming in. That's going to change the mentality. But how have you all reacted to each other in changing the way you were thinking about yourselves as a team, as individuals, with so many struggles this year?
I think we always, at least in my mind, it's, I can't speak for everybody in the group, but I felt like we never lost, the candle flame never went out. At times it was really barely flickering, and it felt a bit grim, but I always felt like, and maybe because there was a lot of continuity from the group from last year, that if we, got the ball rolling in the right direction and we got enough players healthy that we could kind of, I guess, actualize all the potential that we have. And I think, Danny's arrival and appointment to leading us really sparked that. And I think brought our standards back up to a good level. And, a lot of credit to him for coming in and being able to do that. Well, that's not an easy position. And then from our side of it, I think it's just there's a desire to win. We have a lot of really competitive guys in the squad. And I think we find, once you get a taste of that again, it's like a muscle, and it's a little addicting. So once you get a taste of that winning mentality, kind of, it fires you back up. And then, once one person feels that, another person feels that, it just truly is this, excuse me, this like group energy and dynamic. And I feel like we've just been adding more and more to that as the weeks go by. So at this stage, I think that we have a lot of confidence and a lot of togetherness. And there's no place I'd rather be mentally than right here where we are going into this phase of the season.
Yeah, Dillon, and to kind of touch up on all of that as well, and I'm sure that just the chemistry between the squad has a big part to play in it. But what do you think the key to success in this match was for you guys, and how can you kind of carry that over to, this next Saturday?
It's hard to kind of pinpoint one key to success. I think we try to continue playing our game, and sometimes, in the playoffs, you have to, you're going to play 120 minutes if you tie, and you just have to trust the process a little bit. I think maybe that was what allowed us to get it across the line in this game, is we continue to, so maybe the dynamics changed a little bit with the 10 men and overtime, but I think we tried to execute the game plan as a group, and no one really went off script. And I think in the end of the day, it worked out for us. Now, how do you take that into Colorado? Every game asks different questions. So I think what you take is the belief that, if it's going to take 90 plus minutes, if you're going to take 100 plus minutes, that there's always a goal to be had. So like kind of the never say die mentality. And then, also just understanding what this game is going to ask us, which Colorado's a different team and it's going to be a different stadium and atmosphere. So that we will prepare during the week. And then kind of when the ball rolls, you got to kind of feel out the game. And that's the art of playing is being able to like recognize on the fly what this game needs.
Yeah, no, and that's fantastic. And of course, the harder question on the opposite side of the coin is, what from your perspective was kind of the biggest weakness that you guys can take from this match against Memphis and look to improve on this week to get yourselves prepared for Colorado? Is there anything that you guys want to focus and build upon?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, and funny enough, like I think it's often a question you don't ask yourself after you win. So it's sometimes you can kind of get a false sense of security when you win. So it's good to ask, really have an honest look and sobering look. And if I'm looking at, the first thing that pops in my head is we had a kind of a flat start in the first few minutes. I can look at myself. I think there was an early moment where instead of the ball came to me, I had a chance to just clear up the field and get our lines up and kind of be safe. And I I probably tried to be a bit too cheeky and play out of the back, turn the ball over. Ball came back into me, and I let it kind of run across my body. And their striker gets probably the best chance they had in the game. And that's in the first couple minutes, and they could have scored. And if that goes in, it's a different game. So I look at that and I say, okay, playoff game. Maybe we need to think about, this is it right here. Because I thought in that moment, I didn't know where the striker was. I wasn't aware, so I thought it was just going to roll to Colin, which is why I let it go. But what minute is that? It's the third minute of the game. Why take the risks? Maybe just boot the ball off the field, which I easily could have done, and then, you just get your lines up and move there. So that maybe that's something I take into this game is, and we talked about it as a group. It's like, we had a little bit of a flat start for this first few minutes, and then I think it changed script a little bit after we started to put them under a little bit of pressure. But that's probably one thing I'd take away.
No, that's great. And, really awesome to hear from a fan perspective that you guys are already focused on that. One last question for me is, and a more serious question, I guess, is how'd you feel about Marcus Knockham's little video of you and, the CLC's chant of how sexy you are? Does that boost yourself a little bit? Does your wife like those comments?
I think I know which video you're referring to with Marcus. And of course, it's always nice to hear positive things about yourself. And I really love our team, our dynamics with the team. I feel like we have a really good time. We don't take each other too seriously. But then when the ball rolls, like we're so competitive and dialed in, and it's really fun to kind of have both sides of, the extremely competitive side and just the side where we can have a joke, a laugh, and a dance, and have a lot of fun with it. So I'm really thankful for that.
Dillon, we have some fan questions, and hopefully I have the number here correctly, but you've scored 19 goals in your career. Was Saturday's one of the best?
Was Saturday's one of the best? Is that the question?
Yeah.
In terms of moments, I think, it was probably one of the best moments I've had to score a goal. I think my best goal on quality was probably my first professional goal, which was kind of a volley from like 30 yards off the half volley that just went into the upper 90. So it was a great way to start my professional career. But in terms of timing, I would say the goal from this weekend was probably it.
Well, I hope you've got a couple more 30-yarders left in your legs.
It feels good to score, so I'm kind of hungry for more.
We'd love to hear it. How prepared is the team for elevation? I think it's about 7,000 feet, and the weather, cold and snow. I believe it's supposed to be snowing all day on Saturday.
I think these are just things you just kind of take in stride. We haven't discussed it too much. Elevation is always difficult. It's just, you kind of just gotta just own it and just say it's going to be a little bit harder, but just kind of make it a non-issue in your head. That's how I like to deal with it. And then cold and snow is not, once you're running around, it's really not that bad. Unless you're talking about like zero, like negative degrees. Like I feel like throwing Under Armour on, or your body heat really generates a lot. So I'm not really thinking too much about the conditions. I'm actually really excited for the atmosphere, and it's going to be a proper playoff game.
Similarly to kind of getting prepared for matches, do you have a set routine or ritual that helps you get switched on?
It's kind of changed throughout the years. I like to get out for a walk. That helps me just kind of move the body a little bit. I always try to do a little bit of some sort of like meditation during the day. I used to do quite a bit of visualization, but I don't do quite as much of that anymore. But I like to just try to find a moment to the day where I can really bring my entire like system down through like breathing, closing my eyes, just kind of checking in with the body. And then pre-match, we have like kind of a defined playlist that we go through. And I like to, really do a lot of jumping and kind of be very vocal, almost like, like Rick Ross, like barking a little bit, just to get myself and the boys going. So that's probably a few of the things I do.
Awesome. Dillon, unless our Dillon has any more questions, he dropped off for a second. Do you have any more questions, Dillon?
Yeah, Ray recently has been doing a this or that. We're not going to subject you to the whole thing, but I wanted to ask you one this or that question. Plano or Irvine?
Ooh.
Well, if you're asking me to go against my hometown, man, I'll probably go. I got to go with my hometown. Plano.
I've been to Plano. It's not bad.
They're like the same place, so it's fine, Dillon.
Yeah.
Larry, did you have any more questions?
Yeah, I had one. There's another fan question, Dillon. There's going to be a couple of former USL champions playing in this game from 2021. There's yourself. There's Mr. Sipley, and there's that fellow with the really cool hair, Ronaldo Damas. What are your thoughts on facing a former teammate? And now part of your job is going to be to stop him. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm excited for it. I've played against him a few times since. He's a handful. Obviously, he's fast. He can create a goal out of nothing. So I'm excited for the challenge of facing him. He'll present a different challenge than a lot of other strikers do. So I think the backline will have to be very prepared for that. But I'll definitely give him an extra nudge or two. I think he'll appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, that there's no problem with that. I know Dillon was trying to save you, but I do have 10 quick this or that's for you. This is going to be in courtesy of your 4 years at Notre Dame. This is Notre Dame themed this or that. You ready? And quick responses. Touchdown Jesus or the Golden Dome?
Touchdown Jesus.
Football or basketball?
Football.
Notre Dame Stadium or Purcell Pavilion?
Notre Dame Stadium.
Irish coffee or South Bend brew?
Irish coffee.
Studying at Hesburgh Library or the Library Quad?
Hesburgh.
Living on campus or off campus?
Oof. On campus.
Attending a football game or a basketball game?
Football.
The Grotto or Basilica of Sacred Heart?
The Grotto.
The traditions of Notre Dame or modern campus life?
Modern campus.
And then rivals, Stanford or USC?
In terms of which one I like more?
Which one do you like better? Which one do you prefer? Which one would you rather see?
Stanford.
All right, there we go. Hey, I had to put it in there, Dillon. I know our Dillon was trying to save you from it, but we started talking about your 4 years at Notre Dame. I had to give you a quick rundown and see what you thought of that. Any last comment you have for our fans listening, our fans that might be trying to make the trip out to Colorado Springs? What do you have to say to them for this weekend?
I guess I would like to say that we still feel your support, even though we're not having home matches right now for the playoffs. I think there's still a connection. So any way you can kind of continue to support, reach out to us. We feel it. So we're going to be doing our best to deliver a championship, and it's not just for us, but it's for everybody. So that's what I got.
Awesome. There you have it, everyone. The winning goal scorer for your Orange County Soccer Club in the first round of the playoffs. Hopefully more of that this weekend from not just Dillon, but the rest of his teammates. Dillon Powers. Thank you, Dillon, for joining our show.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Dillon.
Talk to you soon. Peace.
Awesome. Dillon Powers, a great person, a great player, and a great player to have on your squad come playoff soccer time. We all remember 2021, a great squad. Hopefully he can help lead this team. In doing so, or to do so, they're going to have to defeat a tough Colorado Springs on the road. I know DK was mentioned. He's a little nervous about this one. I don't know if it was on air or off the air before the show, but I know I heard those words coming out of your mouth, DK. So I'm going to go to you first. What is concerning you most about Colorado Springs this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, Colorado Springs is a good team. I think as far as recent form goes, other than us, they have been one of the better teams in the Western Conference. And when you look at the last time that we faced them, they were missing 4 of their starters, and they will have those 4 starters back. So, it's going to be a tough battle. I think it'll be our toughest battle of the Western Conference playoffs. And if we can make it through this, I think we can get to the championship. That's where I am sitting. So this is going to be, probably the one that I'm most nervous about. Obviously, I think if our squad is feeling the chemistry and going on all cylinders, I think we can beat anybody. That includes anybody on the Eastern Conference too. So I hope we do. I'm going to be nervous on Saturday all day, but I would love to see a victory, and I think that we can do it. It's just going to be one of our toughest battles.
Now, I believe we do have Larry, who's the opposite end of this. He was mentioning he's not nervous whatsoever for Orange County this weekend. So we've got the nervousness of DK, and then the confidence of Larry. Why are you so confident heading into this weekend, Larry?
This team is on a roll. This team is on a roll like we haven't seen since that championship 2021 season. Not only am I confident about this game, but I'm going to go ahead and say this right now. We, Orange County Soccer Club, are going to the Western Conference Final. The Western Conference Final is going to be in Las Vegas. And we are going to go to Las Vegas, and we are going to win that game. And then it's going to be the number 6 seed Tampa Bay Rowdies versus the number 6 seed Orange County Soccer Club in a rematch from 2021. And we are going to put another star over the top of our jersey this year. This team is too good right now. This team cannot be stopped right now. Am I going to be pacing around and losing my mind on Saturday? Damn right I am. But we are going to win this game on Saturday. I don't know how it's going to happen. Might be 0-0. We might go to PKs. But we are going to win this game on Saturday.
Dillon, I have to ask you, because Larry's super confident we're going to the Western Conference Finals, and even sounds like he's confident we're going to the finals. So why the hell is he pacing around in this match against, the team we should beat? Because we're obviously going to the Western Conference Finals per Larry. Why is he pacing around?
Because
Dillon,
I pace around.
I don't know what's wrong with the inner workings of his mind. I lack so many years of professional training for that. That's unanswerable. I'm sorry.
What about you, Dillon? Are you more on the side of DK or more on the side of Larry for this match against Colorado Springs, and why?
I'm right with DK. I think you ultimately you have to respect your opponent at this point. There's no Yankees situation where they don't belong where they've gotten to. We are now in a situation where every team can show up and beat every team. San Antonio beat Colorado less than a month ago. So who knows what's going to happen? What is true is we will have to perform well, or we will, probably suffer. And it was 3 years ago on Wednesday that Rob Kiernan earned a 31st minute red card, and one Ronaldo Damas scored a 45th minute goal, and we held on. So stranger things have happened, but probably having 11 players on the pitch would do us a lot of good this time around.
Yeah, I definitely agree that we need to not go into it with a mentality of, hey, let's get an early red card and try to hold on for the rest of the match. Mainly because we're not at home this time.
Has anybody ever had that as maybe if you're was it Lucas Pakata? Then yes, you're like, I need an early red card today because oh boy, these bookies are gonna do a number to my knees if I don't. But I don't think anybody has ever gone into a match and said, yeah, maybe getting sent off half an hour and isn't a good idea this week.
I just wanted to clarify. The big worries for me with this match against Colorado Springs, there's 3 of them. The first one has been mentioned numerous times. Ronaldo Damas is scary. His speed and his ability to create chances to be a pest. It's going to be difficult. I'm not knocking Marcus Knock. I'm not marking Dillon Powers, Owen Lamb, Ryan Dogman, but I don't think any of them are quicker than Ronaldo Damas. And that can be very dangerous in this type of match where one goal can be the thing that ends someone's season, a team season. The other thing is the altitude is going to be very difficult to adjust to in a short bit of period of time. It's definitely a big advantage for Colorado Springs. One of those things where a team that plays in the high altitude, when they can get into one of these one and done type matches, becomes very difficult for that road team to come in, especially if that road team is not familiar or used to playing at that type of level. And unfortunately for Orange County, they're pretty much as close to sea level as most teams would be in this league. So there's not an easy way for them to prepare for the high altitude. Lastly, Dillon talked about this earlier also, is the weather. It's going to be chilly. Looks like luckily right now, when we look at the 10-day forecast for this Saturday, it's actually going to be warmer for Colorado Springs than it has been. I believe most of this week it's going to be, snow, cold. It'll get up to the 50s on Saturday. So yeah, that's still cold for us here in California. And for most of our players, that's going to be cold for them. But could it be worse? It, at least as of now, doesn't look like snow is on the radar for match day, but cold will still be difficult for Orange County to deal with as well. With that said, I do like what Larry says. This team's playing great. And the good thing with the way the team's been playing, with conceding limited amounts of goals over a long stretch, proving it against Memphis, no goals conceded. When you don't concede goals in the playoffs, you put yourself in a pretty good position to advance. Even if you don't score a goal yourself, you still give yourself an opportunity to advance because you can go to PKs. And once you get to PKs, anything can happen. So the fact that this team has learned how to shut down the net at the right time of the season, sort of like what they did in 2021, as Larry again was saying, it looks like there's some positivity to look at from that, and I'm hoping for a good result. DK, anything to throw on top of any of this, or have you already shared all your information you want to about this match, and do we want to just go straight to predictions?
No, I think I've shared all that I want to share about this match. Our defense needs to be strong. It's a tough offensive Colorado Springs, not just Damas, but they have a few players that have about five goals, I think. So you got to watch the whole forward line and stay strong. But other than that, my prediction, and I'm not going to explain why this is my prediction, I'm just going to throw my prediction out there, is 0-1 Colorado Springs.
Larry. You made Larry upset. I'm going to just say that, DK. I can tell from his face.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to explain my prediction. It's just
you do not have to. You're absolutely 100% welcome to your incorrect opinion. I don't judge.
I hope
1-0 Orange County or 0-0. We went on PKs. One of the two.
Do we get to pick multiple score predictions? Is this the way things go, Dillon?
I just did.
There are no rules because it's the playoffs, and so the winners have already been established. I am blindly trusting our beloved producer Andy here. He does not know if Colorado Springs has any clean sheets. That probably means there's no recent clean sheets. I'm gonna say 2-0 Orange County.
Multiple goals for Orange County from Dillon there. I'm gonna say maybe 1-0. Yeah,
Who's
1-0
winning?
sounds right. So I'm gonna just tell you right now.
Hold on. Who's
Last
winning?
week, wait, hold on, Dylan. Last week, clean sheet against Oakland. The week before, clean sheet against Sac Republic. The week before, clean sheet against Monterey Bay. So they have 3 clean sheets in a row. So not quite at the level of Orange County, but still they do have some clean sheets in very recent memory. So it's not like I had to look far back to find that information. So there have been
what I
some
get
clean
for
sheets.
blindly trusting.
Whoa.
What's up, producer Andy?
I was looking at the stats leaders and I didn't see a Colorado Springs goalkeeper on there on the list at all. So I will blame the league and however they are displaying those. Clearing that.
Hey.
I second that. The league sucks. Suck at USL.
Just be mad at Dylan for throwing you under the bus, producer Andy. He wanted to say that himself. 1-0 prediction for me. Orange County wins, unless it's maybe a 0-0 or maybe it's a 0-1, or it could be a 2-0 Orange County. I'll give you all my predictions.
So Ray's got like 4 predictions.
Apparently, there's no rules. We can do whatever we want here. So that's what I'm going to do there. Is that okay with you, Dylan?
Somebody's going to win with more goals than the other team.
Yes, that is a good way to do it. And producer Andy, I think, wanted to jump in and shut me up. So sorry if I'm going off the rails. With that said, let's get to our random thoughts. And I'll go. I think Larry really is dying for a random thought opportunity. So I'll give it to Larry first. Go, Larry.
Not random at all. It's actually a really thought out thought. Tomorrow, the United States is going to change forever. The world is going to change forever tomorrow. Be ready for it. Be ready to accept it. Whatever way you stand, I don't care. But a lot of things are going to be very different in the not too distant future. So hopefully you've gone out and done your civic duty and you've cast your vote. And, let's keep our fingers crossed that we get the outcome that we want.
And I will jump in on this. I know a lot of people are there's still some people that are undecided. If you really can't make a decision for the presidential candidates, just do a write-in for producer Andy, put him in there and give him some votes.
I had a conversation with my oldest sister today and she is still undecided. So yeah.
Producer Andy, it is for your older sister. Let her know. DK, any random thoughts from you?
Less serious note, although I do agree, everybody go vote. But I'm a huge movie buff, as the people close to me know, and Oscar season is basically started at this point, and there is a current movie out that may or may not sweep a lot of the awards, and it is called Anora, and it might be under people's radars, but you should go see it. It's fantastic. A lot of award potential there. So there's a lot of movies still to see the year, but Anora, it's fantastic. You can go see it.
I thought DK was going to say The Apprentice. Dylan, what is your random thought?
Also, 3 more wins.
3 more wins. That is an awesome random thought right there. I love that one. Hey, I'm sorry, Larry. I have to do this. Capelli update. I was supposed to get my stuff shipped last Friday, November 1st.
Andy,
it still has not shipped.
Please cut his microphone off. Tomorrow out.
Kelly, Kelly, get your stuff together, man. And I haven't heard from anyone. So I just want to update it because Capelli sucks. By the way, if you're listening to this, watching this, however you're doing it, make sure you please like, share, subscribe to our podcast, to our socials. Go check out our website, ocsc.com, for the latest written stuff from DK and our writing crew, and also from other stuff. Yeah, see, like Maddie was waiting for this update. So there you go. With that said, what did we learn in this episode, Larry? Larry doesn't know how to unmute his mic. That's what we've learned. DK, what did you learn?
Producer Andy had me muted, not me. So what did I learn? That why Ray would compare Notre Dame football and basketball is beyond comprehension. That's what I learned.
Hey, you know what? I just went off what I was told to what my screen said. What I learned in this episode is producer Andy didn't want to hear what Larry had to say. DK, what did you learn?
I learned that players can be on a high of the win, but they always appreciate getting that sobering feeling of what they can do next.
Awesome, Dillon.
That the other Dillon is a very mindful figure.
Awesome. Well, with that said, we're going to wrap things up. We did go a little bit longer than normal, but we had a great conversation going on, so that's why we did so. I want to thank all of our listeners that have been listening live and contributing in the chats, interacting with us. We appreciate that. Please continue to do so when you have the opportunity. For those of you that go to our website, follow us on social media, or listen to our show after the fact, whether it's video form on YouTube, on Spotify, or in podcast form. Wherever you listen to podcasts, thank you for doing so. Also, for my co-hosts, Larry, Dillon, DK, for our guest, Dillon Powers from Orange County Soccer Club, and my producer, Andy, I want to thank you all for this great episode. This has been the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, and we are out.